get better markers to show that the steroids have made an impact. Until that time, let us be very cautious. And I firmly believe that I am the last person to leave an old habit, but I am not the first one to take up something which is.
Thank you, Dr. Bhushan and Dr. Shastri. Now let's finish it off. It's already we have 5 minutes about the time. Let's move for the cup of tea. Thank you very much.
Shall I start? Yes. Thank you for the invite. My name is Ravi Kumar. I work in London and absolute honor to be here. So this is a hospital I work in. It's a 750 bedded, very, very busy acute hospital. And it will be not appropriate if I didn't make some disclosures, because I have to acknowledge some people who helped me with this particular case and the videos mainly. It's a real case from our unit from last month, so it's hot on the press as well. And as we go along, we'll be talking about things as to how unfortunate somebody can be really. So when I was asked to present this, I'm no cardiologist. I did my MD medicine with MD thesis in gastro and livers. I then did my MD anesthesia before I went into ICU, and I spent a year doing liver transplant. So I'm no cardiologist, but I do use echo every day. And this was quite appropriate from Niels Bohr, who used to be a physicist, and he said, well, expert is nobody, but somebody who's made mistakes in a very small field. And I think all of us here have made mistakes in our day-to-day practice in a relatively small field of medicine, which is ICU where we practice. So why did I decide to choose this case? As I say, it's a raw case, it's an absolutely real case. The patient is still in our hospital. We made errors on this case. We recognized and corrected our errors, which is the more important bit. It fits amazingly well to the theme of this conference. We reinforced the importance of assessment and reassessments. We took quick and complex decisions. And the case was a combination of experience, expertise, and technology all working in tandem. And a bit of a background, what we do, we get about 170 cardiac arrests in our unit every year. About 22% of them leave hospital to their original employment of any sorts. About 45% of that 170 go to some sort of supported rehab and living. About 15% of that 170 are completely dependent for the rest of their lives. And about 20% of that 170 die whilst in hospital, either in the unit or in the ward with palliative care. So I present a case of a 65-year-old guy who was admitted to our ICU about end of February this year, following an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest with immediate bystander CPR by his 18-year-old daughter. And sometimes the gods are shining on you. This girl, his daughter, was in our ICU doing a taster week because she wanted to pursue a nursing career. So she had come to our unit about a week ago, and we taught her basic life and advanced life support in that 1 week period. So as luck would have it, she gives it to her dad. Duration was for about 8 minutes. The paramedics took over at 8 minutes. They delivered 4 DC shocks. And with good quality CPR, he was brought back to sinus rhythm. The estimated downtime from him actually getting the first shot of CPR to him coming us to our ED was about 27 minutes. We got him on a laryngeal mask. He was unconscious with a GCS of 3 and occasionally making some involuntary movement but none purposeful. He was tubed by my registrar, actually SHO, and ventilated and transferred straight to the cath lab where he had a stent to his LAD. And our standard protocol for immediate post-MI stents is ticagrelor and aspirin. I'm not entirely sure what they use in your setups here. And our cardiologists are quite adamant that we use it preferably for a year, but absolutely must for a month. So we get him to our unit, or when we first got him, this is how we got him in our ED. Now you can see here there is bulging and ballooning of the RV there. Now because this is a raw echo, 28th of February at 2 o'clock, you can see the ballooning and bulging of RV. And you might be wondering, why is the CPR rate that slow? Now this is CPR with something called as Lucas. I don't know, hands up who have heard of Lucas? So Lucas is an automatic CPR device, and what we've done just to take that picture for about 10-second period was reduce the rate of Lucas. So it is compressing there, and it's a subcostal view, and you can see here what you can see really, bounding and ballooning of RV. So at that point he goes to the cath lab. The panelists, please do feel free to interrupt as and when you feel required. So he goes there and he has an LAD stent, as I say. From there he comes to our unit, and in our assessment, this is what we start to see immediately. Now there have been some fantastic lectures with some fantastic videos beforehand, and I'll leave it to the audience to tell me what's happening there. Anyone amongst the audience? So if you look there, what's happening there and what's happening here? It is a pneumothorax, and you can see that probably is the lung point somewhere there, and there is no sliding there. So we pick him up, and imagine the scenario: a brand new stent, a high dose ticagrelor, aspirin, and now we have a pneumothorax. So what would you do? Anybody from that audience? I'll come to the panelists in a bit. So fully anticoagulated, brand new stent and a pneumothorax. What do we do here?
IC tubing. IC tubing.
IC tubing with all the anticoagulants. You're happy? Okay, so were we. Okay, so we put in an ICD with some prayers, obviously with ultrasound. It went well. That was fine, but I wish things were that simple. We also noticed that he had another pneumothorax on the left side, and this time we picked up some multiple bilateral fractures and a sternal fracture. So we put in a second drain, and if you see there, and if you notice on the side here, that's where the probe is on the left side, and you can just about see a fractured rib there, and probably no sliding there, so not that great. This is not as good as the picture, the first one. So we now have somebody who's anticoagulated, already has a right-sided drain, now needs a left-sided drain. And this drain misadventures carry on. Our right-side drain then stops draining, swinging and bubbling, and the patient tensions twice. So a second drain is put on the right side again with a similar picture, because what we noticed was that the first right-sided drain was being periodically occluded by the lung on the left, by the lung as it was coming up. So we now have got some stability. We are on day 3. There are recurrent events. But until now, we are very, very adamant on our neurological assessments, but that have not been feasible because of the sequence of events. So a sedation hold is planned, so the nurses would do it regularly. But what happens then is he has further 3 episodes of cardiac arrest, all within the ICU. They are all VFRS and a ROS with one cycle of CPR, and each time he had 150 joules of synchronized DC. So he comes back. So okay, fine, we've got him back. What we don't know for sure is why is this happening. So we echo him again. And just going back to that. And so there you go. So what you see here is this chap has been already stented on his LAD, and you can see what is happening there. Anybody would like to comment what's happening there? So if you see the LAD territory probably looks okay there, but the EF is quite poor. And you see this bit is not thickening, so he probably has an RCA occlusion now. So we pick that up and we see that further on this one. I'm sure there's a trick to do this, which I don't know. So this is a short axis view, and you can see there that probably the LAD territory there is working okay. It is this bit which is the problem. At this bit, and those of you who are new to echoes or are beginning to learn echoes, you can beautifully see the descending aorta there as well. So at this point, we took him to the cath lab again. We re-angioed him and we stented his right circumflex. This was his 4-chamber view prior to sorry, I'm struggling.
On the picture. Click on the picture.
If I can find the cursor.
Bring the cursor here on the picture.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So here you can see, again, there is some inferior wall hypokinesia there, but it's a decent picture. Now this is quite interesting, and I deliberately put this on. This is a 2-chamber view, and you generally don't get this image on a routine examination. If you see here, there's marked inferior wall hypokinesia, and there is something called as spontaneous echo contrast, which you see in the center. Now these patients are at very, very high risk of thrombus, and that also detects a very reduced ejection fraction, which we know from other views anyway. So normally, if this patient wasn't stented or anticoagulated, your immediate plan would be to anticoagulate them with heparin. So this is a classical 2-chamber view with echo contrast. So anyway, he has a right circumflex stented. We then do a CT of his brain, which is unremarkable. We are still unable to extubate him due to his thoracic pain and agitation. However, from a neurological point of view, he wakes up to a point that he's actually doing something worthwhile, moving all his 4 limbs. But then what happens is he suddenly becomes hypotensive, and the pressure goes down to 72. He becomes tachycardic, hemoglobin drops down to 56, which would be 5.6.